Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to look at everything that happened in Chapter 5 Season 2 of Fortnite. We got a whole lot of stuff last season and I just wanted to take a deeper dive, a minute if you will, to just talk about all of the skins, the lore, the community stuff that went down, weapons, and possibly some other stuff. So I thought I'd bring you along for the journey. We're going to be starting with lore because Fortnite lore can be really hard to follow, and a lot happened last season, so let's get into it. To start, we have to go back to Chapter 5 Season 1, where two things happened. We had a new NPC show up on the map. Her name was Odyssey, and you could find her at Ruined Reels, and she would task you to help her find these mosaic pieces. After we gathered all the pieces, we were able to unlock a new loading screen, which gave us our first look into the new season. She would also warn us that there was someone on the island meddling in things that they didn't understand. Simultaneously, another character, Valeria, one of the strongest members of the society, seemed to be spending a lot of her free time, quote, studying an unknown ancient box, an orb, and a moth. I don't think we know exactly why she was researching these things, but it can be assumed it was for power. Because of this research, the giant Titan hand rose from the earth in her ruined reels, holding what she was looking for, Pandora's box. The box had been wrapped up in chains, which had HP, leading the community to work together to break the chains. The box fell to the ground, opened, and released thousands of evil souls. Of course, no mere mortals could contain this problem, causing the gods to awaken from their slumber and intervene, leading us into Chapter 5, Season 2, Myths and Mortals. Once the gods had arrived, they resealed all of the evil and tracked down the remaining members of the society. One of the gods, Zeus, grew angry at humanity for opening Pandora's box and vowed to eliminate all mortals, starting a battle between the gods and us. At the start of the new season, the character Oracle could be found around the map. If you spoke to her, she would tell you a prophecy, quote, "Zeus's wrath is upon you, and doom is on the horizon. You must prove the worth of humanity to Zeus, the guardian of Olympus, before the skies turn black." In order to prove ourselves, we challenge Hades and Ares, defeating them and giving us their medallions. Hades gave us a siphon of health and shields, while Ares gave us increased weapon damage. From this, we do also earn another prophecy, quote, "Darkened skies, choking dust, hope lost, then found again." While all of this was happening, other more familiar faces started appearing around the map. You could find Brutus, Sky, Meowscles, Tiantina, Marigold, and Midas's daughter Jules. It turns out that Marigold had brought everyone together under the suspicion that Midas was back on the island, most likely in the underworld with Hades, which had turned out to be true. He was being held in a cell, tethered by the chains of Hades, which suppressed his golden touch. At some point, a guard had left one of Midas's hands free, with which he could touch the other chain, turning it gold and freeing himself. He also was able to do the same to the door, escaping into the island. We did also receive another game mode during this time. It was the Midas's Floor is Lava LTM. It was basically a standard battle royale game, but with rising golden lava. It was fun. It was kind of neutrally received, but it didn't really have any impact on the lore, but I didn't really know what to throw it in, so there you go. Back on the main island, Midas had reemerged as a half-dead, half-alive version of himself, but was able to reunite with his crew. A mutual contact asked Jules to research the suppressing powers of the chains of Hades, and she was able to find a mysterious essence in the underworld's gates. She then used it to create new gauntlets that allowed Midas to seal and unseal his golden touch at will. And as a quick side note, again, sorry, Midas in the old canon could already do this, but that has been retconned, so that is that. I'm sorry. Once everything was set, Midas and a select few of his crew fled the island, looking for somewhere to stake out for a little while. While they did this, others caused distractions for Hades, so he basically wouldn't notice that Midas was gone. And Midas does plan on returning for the rest of his crew once Hades has left the island. But back in the main storyline, we receive another prophecy, leading us to work with Aphrodite and Pele. We also recruit Artemis to our side, as well as Medusa, who tells us how many people believe she and Perseus are enemies, but in actuality, he is her greatest ally, which means we ship them. And that's just how that works. She goes on to tell us that he freed and saved her from Zeus, who tasked Perseus to kill her. Cerberus loses an artifact given to him by Hades and tasks us to find it. He is blackmailing us. He tells us that if we do not help him, he will tell Zeus that we are conspiring against him. Although that doesn't really matter too much because later we do challenge Zeus one last time, defeating him and earning us one last prophecy from Oracle. She tells us that her previous prophecy about darkened skies and choking dusts was actually talking about the Wanderer, and that Zeus was just the beginning. She also says, and I quote, "You have won a great victory for humanity, but your war has not yet begun. Storm clouds gather, the Wanderer draws near. Even in darkness, hope will guide you." Hope, the character, also manages a new rule of freedom over Olympus. Now, with us wrapping up this season, a mini event took place called the Sandstorm event, where storm clouds gathered around the statue at Mount Olympus. Its eyes glowed and the statue animated, then threw a lightning bolt at Pandora's box, partially charging the orb and turning the green water under the box yellow from boiling heat. This happened 2 more times over the next 2 days, where on the last day, the box imploded. Something came out of that box, most likely the Wanderer, which seemingly shot off into the distance, creating a sandstorm that is getting closer and closer to the island. In this sandstorm, we can see flashes of a message in a red light using Morse code saying "No hope." And that is pretty much every major lore piece that we got this season. We did, of course, also have a Star Wars collab and a Avatar: The Last Airbender collab, but neither of them really impacted the story that much, so we don't really need to talk about them here. Don't worry, we will talk about them though. I also want to mention that while playing this season, you could also challenge Zeus and Cerberus to get their medallions as well. Zeus is granted faster speed and higher jumps, and Cerberus is granted you the dash movement. Again, we'll talk about weapons and items and all of those things a little bit later, but I mentioned the others too, so I wanted to mention those as well. What are you gonna do? But as for now, I think it's safe to say that Hope is going to continue to be our main character going into Chapter 5, Season 3, possibly going missing and maybe drawing Valeria out of hiding because we did get like the whole no hope and Hope will go missing and all of those things. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think it would be really cool if we did get a redemption arc for Valeria. I think there's a lot to explore with her character, her and Hope, their whole family. What's their family dynamic? What's going on there? Of course, we will also have other main characters. Obviously, we're going to have like the Wanderer, I assume is going to pop up at some point. And then seemingly Chaos Agent is also going to be a pretty big role in this season, which is really interesting. Also, he used to work with Midas, so he might not even be done with Midas yet. I hope not, but we'll see. But that is everything I have for you in the lore section. I did probably miss some other pieces of lore, but that is kind of what I felt was important to include and what I felt like would be important later in the timeline, you know? But with that section being wrapped up, we're going to be moving into the skins portion of the video, where we're just going to briefly break down everything we got this season, you know, briefly. But it's going to include the Battle Pass skins, item shop skins, Fortnite crew, and collabs, covering it all. With that, I think it makes the most sense to start with our Battle Pass skins, since those are the skins we got first. We got 8 skins total, including the secret skin, Korra. All of these skins but Korra were based off of the Greek gods, Cerberus, Aphrodite, Medusa, Artemis, Hades, Zeus, and Poseidon. Unfortunately, I don't think that many of these gods were portrayed in the best way, specifically Aphrodite. She kind of just looks like she's gonna go play tennis. In my opinion, none of them are necessarily bad, but I think they left a lot to be desired, and they don't really read as gods and goddesses to me. I just feel like Fortnite could have gone so much harder with these skins, and the payoff could have been one of the best battle passes that we have ever gotten. I still think this battle pass was really good. I just think that the skins could have been like way better, but you know, it's just me. As for Fortnite crew, we got 2 crew skins during this run. So we got a Ares skin for April and the Spirit Hunter Seiko skin for May. I actually really like both of these skins. I think they're both really, really good. I feel like Ares looks pretty much exactly as he should. I think he plays into the lore and looks like a warrior. I kind of had mixed feelings about Sieko at first because I was really hoping for another goddess skin before the end of the season. But also I kind of understand why they didn't give us a goddess skin, because she was the transition skin from season 2 to season 3. So like, I get it. But I will also say I also really like her lore, and I think she's cute. So I'm not mad. I could have gone for more goddess skins, but that's okay. We also started another festival pass, which gave us our first Billie Eilish skin, the Green Roots Billie skin. I don't have too much to say about her other than she's pretty much exactly what I think everyone thought she was going to look like, which is totally fine. Honestly, that's probably a good thing for someone you're basing off of, like a real human, or for a skin that you're basing off of a real human. Later in the season, though, we did get her second skin with her new album release, which is the Red Roots Billie skin. I do wish the two skins were a little more different from each other, but of course, again, they're based off of a real person, and like, they look like her. They look like Billie. So I'm happy with them. I think it would have been fun to have another skin that was more like, I don't know. I feel like they could have played with Billie's second skin more, but what are you gonna do? We did also get 2 other passes during this season. We got the Avatar: The Last Airbender pass and the Lego Star Wars pass. If you purchased the Avatar: The Last Airbender pass, you unlocked Aang immediately, and upon completion, you unlocked the Avatar State Aang skin, which, yes, were separate skins, not a different style, which kind of sucks, but it's fine. Also, here's a little fun fact for you. When the Avatar State skin first came out, Aang did in fact have his scar on his back, but he didn't have it on his foot, and this was later fixed in a patch, which I think is cool. The fans noticed something, and then Epic was like, oh, okay, let's go back and fix that real quick, and they did, and I respect that, you know? The other pass we got was a mostly Lego items pass, but upon purchase you did unlock the Chewbacca skin immediately. Some players were not a big fan of this because a lot of people had been asking for a Chewbacca skin for a really long time, and for it to be tied to a Lego battle pass was just not it for a lot of people. Which I do get. It kind of sucks for people that don't really care about Lego to have to buy the pass just to get the skin. But if it makes you feel any better, the Lego pass was only 1,400 V-Bucks, and if we had gotten the skin in the shop, it probably would have been at least 1,500 V-Bucks. So it's not like the worst thing in the world. It's justifiable, I guess, is what I'm saying. All right. And now we are moving on to the item shop skins. This is a big section. For this one, we're going to be splitting it into 2 parts. We're going to be doing Fortnite original skins and then collab skins. We'll start with the originals, of which we actually didn't get that many. We only got 22 over the season. Some of the standouts, in my opinion, being, of course, Ascendant Midas, Odyssey, Peel Officer, Banana Cratties. She said that with confidence, so it's correct. The Titan and Charon. I think overall some of the best skins from this season were the skins that really leaned into the theme of the season. And in this instance, I'm not just talking about the original skins. There's also at least one collab skin that we'll bring up later that also fits into the season really well. And of course, we mentioned Ares earlier. I do, like I said earlier, wish we had gotten more Greek goddesses, but that just may be a hill I have to die on. On the flip side, though, we got 9 collabs from this season, with 38 skins from those collabs, and 34 of those skins being item shop skins. We got collabs from Marvel, Star Wars, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Nike, Coachella, Billie Eilish, My Hero Academia, J Balvin, and the largest one being the NBA skins. The NBA skins were in the anime art style and super customizable. We also had the anime style for the other Avatar skins for Zuko, Katara, and Toph. While these skins were fairly popular, they were also a bit controversial, being priced at 2,000 V-Bucks, whereas a lot of other collabs we had received in the past have been priced at 1,500, and they're not super detailed. We'll talk a little bit about it later, but I get it. Also priced at 2,000 V-Bucks though, were the new and highly anticipated My Hero Academia skins. But to be fair, two of the three skins, came with emotes in their bundle. So you were getting a skin, back bling, pickaxe, as well as an emote. So that makes the price, in my opinion, definitely more justified. For Marvel, we ended up getting a Guardians of the Galaxy bundle, which featured 3 skins and 2 emotes, as well as some other items. Originally, this bundle was priced at $30, but then it was later reduced to $20, which I find very interesting. A lot of people felt that it was unfairly priced in the beginning. I am not one of those people. I think you're still getting 3 skins, as well as 2 emotes, and it feels like a lot because you're seeing the actual monetary value of it, of $30 and not, 3,000 V-Bucks or 3,500 V-Bucks. It's easier to justify a price than when it's got fake money, As for the other skins, we got a new Hulk skin, Hela, Loki, and Sylvie. Of these skins, Hulk definitely stood out as being one of the most detailed. He looked really, really good. And then on May 3rd, we received the Star Wars update, which included a bunch of Star Wars stuff being added to the shop, including 3 new skins, the AWR Trooper, Lando Calrissian, and the Dagobah version of Luke Skywalker. Personally, I was hoping for more, specifically a female Mandalorian would have been really, really cool. But instead of starting that, I will just go and climb back up onto my hill. We also got another J Balvin skin, 2 Coachella skins, and 3 Nike skins, with one of those being the Nike Goddess skin, and I think she looks so, so good. I think she's a really, really good collab skin, and she just fits perfectly into the season, and yes, I want more of that. I want more skins that fit the vibe of the season, but they're also collabs, or just, I like skins that look, I don't know. Anyway. But speaking of collabs, we did get our first collab of the season, being the Avatar The Last Airbender collab, with Korra, of course, being in the Battle Pass. But we did also get a full-blown Avatar collab halfway through the season. We got new mini POIs in the form of temples where you could find the new bending mythics, as well as corresponding characters from the show. So at the waterbending temple, you could find Katara, pick up waterbending. At the fire temple, you could find Zuko, pick up firebending, and so on and so forth. And we will talk about those mythics just a little bit later. We will talk about them though. With this little mini mid-season event, we did also, of course, get a little battle pass with the previously mentioned Aang skin that you could unlock right away as soon as you purchased it. It was only 1,000 V-Bucks. It was a pretty good price, especially considering you do technically get 2 skins, technically. But if you still wanted to participate, you could still do that by getting the free track items, which is really, really cool. We also, of course, had corresponding challenges, and those are pretty straightforward, and the rewards were pretty decent. Overall, the collab was a success, aside from the item shop skins being fairly expensive for only having one edit style and not being super detailed, as well as one certain character being missing. On the other hand, we did have our Star Wars collab every year around May the 4th. That is expected that we'll get some kind of in-game Star Wars event, and this year was no different. The item shop flooded with new skins, rocket racing items, Lego items, and festival items. Surprisingly, the new skins were focused on the original trilogy rather than the prequels. Specifically, The Phantom Menace was celebrating its 25th anniversary, but to be fair, also the 2023 event was Clone Wars focused, which takes place during the prequel era, so it does make sense for the next event to take place during the original era. And with that, it could be assumed that 2025's event might be taking place in the new trilogy. Or something like that. We'll see. This year, however, the event was not super well received. It focused heavily on the Lego aspect of the collab, which had a pretty big in-game event as well as a story track that you could participate in, and received a full-blown 90-day Lego pass with which you would unlock the Chewbacca skin and many Mos Eisley inspired Lego builds. This pass did also have a free track, does also have a free track. It is still currently ongoing, which again, we love a good free track. But again, it is also entirely Lego. And it is worth mentioning that the Lego event was really fun. It's been fun to play, and it felt really, really fleshed out, unlike the rest of the game modes. In Battle Royale, stormtroopers were dropped onto the map and would engage in battle with the player, dropping legendary bowcasters and E11 blasters. At one of the locations, the stormtroopers would be fighting Chewie, and if you assisted in the win, he would become essentially a hired NPC and dropped a bowcaster for the player to use, which was cool. We also had Darth Vader that would land on the map and held the only lightsaber in the game. If you wanted it, you would have to defeat him. And again, this was the only way to get a lightsaber, which was really a bummer. And that was pretty much it. We did also get a challenge log to complete, which would give you back bling, a guitar, a boost trail, and maybe a wrap. I feel like there was one other thing, but maybe not. We also got some cosmetics that you could use in Rocket Racing, as well as 2 instruments in a jam track for Festival. Also, something worth noting is that when the Star Wars skins were added to the game files, leakers discovered a line of text reading Rebel Leia Organa, which is not a skin that we have, and we still do not have that. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if anything ever materializes with that. But I thought it was very interesting that we could have gotten a second Leia skin. Kind of would have made sense once we got the second Luke skin, but I don't know. I probably would have bought it. Overall, though, it was a pretty lackluster event, especially when you compared it to previous years. It just felt like Fortnite put all the effort into Lego and everything else was kind of an afterthought. Now, as for weapons and items, we got a lot of fun ones this season, so let's go ahead and look at all those. Starting us off, we will start with everything that was new to the season. We got the new Gatekeeper shotgun, which gave us high damage, high fire rate, and a low magazine size. We also had the Huntress DMR with high damage and low fire rate, the Warforged AR with high fire rate and high recoil, which I really like that one. We also had the Harbinger SMG with high fire rate, high recoil, and close range. We got the Wings of Icarus, which could be used to fly, barrel roll, and dive. But the large wings did also add to your hitbox, making it easier for people to hit you down if they wanted to. We also had the Thunderbolts of Zeus, which was moderately strong. This mythic is compared to the Deku Smash and the Kamehameha quite often. It dealt a large amount of damage, but at the cost of exposure. So it was could potentially be a win-lose situation, you know? Added later in the season, we got the Shield Bubble Jr., which is a smaller version of the OG item, and it was definitely more of an appropriate size. We also got the Chains of Hades, which was a crowd control melee weapon. It allowed users to retrieve items or players from a distance. It also dealt pretty good melee damage with generous aim. It was pretty good to have in zero build. We also got the return of the drum gun with Midas. This SMG is unique in the fact that it has high recoil like SMGs, yet high damage, and uses medium ammo like an AR. We also had the combat AR return, which is a classic. This AR has lower damage than the other ARs, but uses light ammo, allowing for more diverse inventory loadouts. We also got the hand cannon. This heavy hitting pistol now is more potent than ever, being still a lightweight alternative to the DMRs and snipers, but now can be found with sights for accuracy. We also got our first element with waterbending. This mythic is a multi-projectile, long-range weapon, but not only was it good in pretty much all ranges, it had an unlimited ammo pool and a passive healing effect in water. A lot of people hated it, but also a lot of people really loved it. I am definitely one of those people that really, really liked waterbending. It was just fun. It's a good pickup, you know? We did also, of course, get all of the other Avatar items, but before we got those, all of the Greek mythics were temporarily removed from the game. So the Chains of Hades, the Lightning Bolt, and the Wings of Icarus were all temporarily moved to make way for the new bending. We got fire bending, which you could use to shoot bursts of fire at opponents, as well as do kick damage, which is basically area effect damage. We also got earth bending, which launched rocks, dealing pretty decent damage, but better for clearing structures. Also, It allowed the user to make a rock wall, providing covers, which was, again, especially useful in zero build. We also got airbending, which was non-lethal, but allowed for really, really good movement. It allowed us to jump really high and make a sort of wind vehicle, which could be used indefinitely. I've heard a lot of people saying that this is the best movement we've ever seen in the game. Once the event was over, only waterbending remained while the Greek mythics returned. For Star Wars, our other collab, we got the E11 blaster, which had very poor accuracy, but unlimited ammo and had a cooldown. We also had the Wookiee bowcaster, which had a optional charge property to it, making projectiles explode on impact, which is great for ranges and starting a fight. And lastly, we had Darth Vader's red lightsaber. It's the same as all the other lightsabers, but you could throw this one. We did also have medallions, which we did go over a little bit earlier, but just to briefly touch on them again, the medallions were the aspect of speed from Zeus, the aspect of siphon from Hades, the aspect of agility from Cerberus, and the aspect of combat from Ares. And with that, that is pretty much all of the notable items that we received. I'm sure I might have missed maybe one or two, but I'm fairly confident that was everything. And one last thing to talk about before we get into our actual last section is all of Fortnite's other game modes. At first, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to talk about these, but I feel like I should at least mention them. So there we go. For LEGO Fortnite, in addition to the Star Wars event, LEGO also received a much-needed farming update, which added more animals and the ability to farm in-game. Rocket Racing received a couple new maps, and Fortnite Festival saw the end of the Lady Gaga Pass and the beginning of the Billie Eilish Pass, and that is it. Not a whole lot happened in the other game modes, which I'm okay with. They're fun to play, but I'm here for the Battle Royale. All right, now it is time to move on to the community portion of this video. Luckily, there's not too much to cover here, but there is at least two major things that we are going to be talking about. I will say, though, if you are expecting me to talk about certain creators or drama in that way, that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're talking about. We're actually going to be talking about Donald Mustard. For those of you who may be unaware, Donald Mustard was the co-creator of Fortnite / creative director, and he did an interview recently explaining behind the scenes events making Fortnite what it is today. This included collabs and the marketing of the game. He also revealed that the last season he worked on was Chapter 3, Season 3, Vibin', and during the interview, we learned why he left the company, seemingly because Tim Sweeney, the CEO, wanted to make more modes for Fortnite and pull resources away from Battle Royale. And this would make sense as to why, around that point, the story kind of stopped making sense. This is also the time where UEFN and the other modes like LEGO Fortnite, Rocket Racing, and Festival were being developed. Basically, this interview gave a lot of players insight as to what happened and answered a lot of questions that a lot of us have been asking for quite a while. It was honestly much needed closure for a lot of people. Unfortunately, access to the interview is only behind a paywall, so not too many people have actually read the full interview. It is not a video, so it does kind of leave room for confusion, which is pretty unfortunate for the community, but also I understand. The other major thing that we had happen during this season was the Season 3 roadmap leak. Towards the end of Season 2, an image was shared around on 4chan, then posted on X by iFiremonkey showing a roadmap calendar for Fortnite's 2024. When this was first shared, it was still under heavy speculation of whether or not it was real. There were many things that seemed either too good to be true or that maybe didn't make the most sense. But once Billie Eilish had been officially announced as the new headliner for Fortnite Festival, it was all about confirmation for the community that this roadmap was in fact real, and this is what we could expect to look forward to in the coming months. Of course, even now, more things from the roadmap can be seen in-game, like Chapter 5, Season 3, and Metallica. We don't have confirmation yet that Metallica is the next headliner for Festival, but they are in the game in other ways. And while that is really, really exciting to get to see everything that we get to look forward to for the rest of this year, it's also really important to remember that this is just a roadmap and things could change at any moment. Personally, I try not to get too excited about these things until Fortnite themselves announces it, Basically, what I'm saying is take all of this with a grain of salt. It's all still a work in progress, and it's not set in stone yet. Overall, Chapter 5, Season 2 was an extremely hyped season that the community was excited for from the first sighting of Odyssey. With the return of beloved characters and multiple new exciting POIs and bosses, this season seemed to be set for nothing but success. In the beginning, it truly felt like this season would go down in the books as one of the most memorable, and I still believe it will, even if we did have a few fumbles along the way. Going into the new season, I wish the two felt a little more connected. Perhaps Megalodon could have been a Greek god, or maybe a demigod would have been interesting, but god or not, his presence is still felt throughout the map, and I'm excited to see what happens next. Let me know what your favorite part of Season 2 was. Did you enjoy the Greek gods, or were you more intrigued by Midas coming back? How do you feel about all the collabs we got this season? In-game or the skins? What was your favorite POI? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I enjoy hearing what other people have to say about just everything. I like opinions. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I am trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of June. I would love to get my own creator code, so that's my goal right now. But if you really want to help support me in that, I would appreciate it. And yeah. Also, please like this video if you liked it. This took a lot of work, and it's a bit of a different video than I usually do. But I would really like to know what the feedback is for it. So let me know. And again, thank you just so much for watching. I do really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, bye. I'm a Warforged Air girly.